car, 2 kids and a wife. I'll probably be here for the rest of my life. I'm living on the island. When summer comes and winter falls, the island leaves the shopping malls. Take daddy's credit card and charge it all. They're living on an island. Oh, we're living on Long Island. Oh, you know it's so much fun. I'm living on the island. I'm just basking in the sun.
Hey, Anthony, give me a vodka. Is that your Camaro? It's gorgeous.
You know, I went to high school with Billy Joel.
Wow.
I go to Hamptons on Friday night. I party hard till sunshine bright. Then I'm sitting in traffic on Sunday night. I'm living on an island. Yeah, living on Long Island. Oh, you know it's so much fun. I'm living on the island. Am I hurting anyone? Let's live.
Hey there, Islanders. If you're going out to the beach, you better get an early start. Traffic is miserable.
Well, I'm coming of age, you know, that page, trying to get down in Levittown, dancing in the dark and...
Hey, hello,
everybody. Welcome to the Gagootz Show. August 27th. This is season 2, episode 17, right?
I don't know. Someone just told us. And
Yeah,
you don't remember?
yeah, it is. It definitely is. And tonight, like I've been promising everybody, we have a really special show. Mr. Joey Cola is going to be on. He's actor, comedian, entrepreneur.
I'm eating chocolate first.
He's eating chocolate before he comes on, so he's going to be ready to go. But before we do that, we wanted to let you know what we've been doing since the last time we saw you, which is I've been going to a lot of comedy shows.
I went with you.
Oh, he went with me.
I went to a lot of comedy shows.
He went with me, went and saw Greg Vaccarelli.
Greg Vaccarello, yes.
Vaccarello. Oh, let me get those teeth in. Which was at the brokerage.
Yes.
Governors. We have Governors. See, I have a menu from We'll get into why that menu from Governors is there and when Joey comes on. But, yeah, we did that, and then we went and saw...
You went to 3 comedy shows
in a row.
In a row.
I did.
Actually, we started on Thursday, right?
Right.
We saw Ryan, our son Ryan, was in the second round of the Long Island Laugh-Off.
Right,
And he didn't make it to the third round, but he did very well. I'm
fantastic.
Very proud of him.
He's at the Grizzly Pair doing a gig tonight with Ivory Fields.
Yes. Yeah.
And Marie and Ivory.
Then we went to saw Greg Vaccarella.
Right.
Vaccarello.
And then I went to...
And Carrie Carabas was on that show.
I love Carrie. I know she's watching. Hi, Carrie. I love you. Joey's going to be on, but you know that.
And
okay.
Joe Cravella was the host. We've seen him quite a few times.
Oh, yeah. Really, he's very good.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a fun thing. And then, what was the third one that we went to?
You went. I didn't go. I couldn't do 3 in a row. You saw Teddy Smith.
Oh, my Teddy.
And Joe Curry.
Teddy Smith and Joe Curry. So basically, I spent most of the time in the bar talking with those guys because everybody else, I was there for them. Hi guys, because I know Joe's going to be on the show, the next show that we have.
Joe Curry.
Joe Curry.
He's going to be on.
He's going to be on. So we'll mention that. That'll be all over social media.
Yeah, in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, I'm good like that. And
you're good that way.
I'm fantastic that way. And and so what else did we do?
We went to Tony Landolfi at a party. We saw more comedians
that we haven't seen in a long time. Very long time.
That you wanted, and we had a lot of fun. We also had a couple of family parties.
Oh yes, we had the family barbecue. We did a lot. We either do nothing or we do everything. It's unbelievable. So, we had a very, very busy 2 weeks, actually.
We did have a very busy 2 weeks. I got new glasses.
Yep.
Finally, after 10 years, I finally got new, and I also got prescription sunglasses.
Yes, so he's, those things that you wear for cataracts when you get cataract surgery, those big, ugly things. He's been putting those things over his regular glasses.
They're not cataract glasses. They're just big sunglasses that go over.
They're the ones that the doctor gives you for your cataract surgery, Benny. They are, I'm telling you.
No, they look like they're
anybody
not.
That's out there watching, you can write on the bottom right there. Anyway, long story short, he used to put these big giant glasses over these glasses, and I let him do what he wants to
I
do.
look like a cool insect.
He looked
I look like an
ridiculous.
insect that was at a
Now
party.
he's got regular prescription sunglasses. He looks really cool, and then we got to outfit him better.
And why? I'm not
Well,
wearing...
because Bobby just said he was looking when you do the stand-up on Fridays.
Yeah.
He goes, some of these people wear the same thing every week.
Not
gotta-
me.
Yeah. There's quite a few of you wearing the same thing. We got to get more. We have to
All
get
right,
more. You
yeah.
got to get more clothes. I, as a woman, know I make sure I'm not. I mean, I may wear my jeans, once or twice, but I always have a different top or dress on.
It's an open mic on a Friday.
No, I'm talking about on this show.
I'm not wearing the same shirt all the time.
So we have to keep looking to make sure.
I was
that-
gonna wear. I didn't want to wear a big. I originally wanted to wear my suit because the blue suit because Joey was on the show. But then I thought it's still hot. It's still kind of too hot.
90 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's
90.
still hot. So I didn't wear the suit, and so I wore these white pants, which I've never worn before. These are really nice white pants. They're Dockers or something
They're
like
beige.
that. All right. So I'm not gonna argue with her.
This is
I
white.
got-
This is white. These are beige.
33 years. I'm not gonna argue with the lady now.
Don't argue with the woman after 33 years of marriage, folks. You just don't. Anyway, let me just, before
Yeah.
we lose our thing, we have two sponsors, but we have too many videos tonight, so we can't do the sponsors' videos, and I've already spoken to them. They're fine with that. So, Vertex Physical Therapy, where I go for my physical therapy twice or three times a week. They have a location in Central Islip, which is where I go, and then they just opened one in Queens, and they have another one located in Hempstead. So if you're in an accident or something like that, you need to go to physical therapy. I highly recommend it. But if you just want to go, get a prescription for your doctor because you have sciatica or whatever.
This is the place to go.
This is the place to go.
Vertex. And they
Physical-
opened up a new office where?
in Queens, but I don't know exactly the address yet.
All
because
right,
it's
but
not
if you
on
look
this
up
one.
Vertex, they have a website.
Yeah, if you look up Vertex, they have a website. It's Vertex. They have a website, so you can check that out. And the other sponsors are
Keys loves jewelry, cutlery, and Keys loves
jewelry.
That's Key Fitz and his wife Teresa, two wonderful people that give you great deals on jewelry.
I wear their jewelry all the time.
Key has all kinds of cutlery. He has
Pepper
classic
spray,
knives.
legal pepper spray,
Pepper
which
spray.
I carry
He
everywhere.
also has the you wear the claw, the Wolverine claw. He actually sells
Yes.
the Wolverine claw.
He's got all that stuff like
and
that.
different swords if you want swords and stuff.
Yep. So
So-
anyway, let's go to your first video, and then we're gonna get our.
We're going to go to
special
the first
guest.
video with Joey. Joey was in a short film written and directed by Don Sill called Comic Sans.
Comic
and the
Sans.
first video is called Billy Didn't Get the Part.
Okay,
and-
talking to the camera.
As your agent, I gotta tell you things that you have to listen to. That's what you have to do. And when I tell you funny, bring the funny. That's what you do. You're funny looking, you got funny words. Everything about you is funny, yet you bring a serious monologue. Listen, if I'd have told you it was about a construction worker, then you wear a fucking hard hat and bring a hammer. You got a hammer? I would have get you a hammer. It was about a cowboy. You ride in on a horse, you wear some chaps, and you go, ee-haw! That's what you do. But no, this was a comedy commercial, you fucking idiot. And you go in there and read a serious monologue. They're not gonna buy that, you dummy. I love you, but you did the wrong thing. You weren't funny. You didn't bring the funny, Billy, and that's why you didn't get it. You're a fucking motherfucker!
All right, fuck it, comedy time.
All right, it's funny
All
comedy
right.
time. That was perfect.
Hey,
Comedy
comedy
time.
time. Hey!
Here's Joey.
Hi, everybody. Hello. It's good
Joey
to be here at the
Kohler.
Gagootz show. The Gagootz.
There's
This is a Gagootz right here.
That's what it looks like. Benny made a big Gagootz stew. Over
Yeah, I
the
actually
weekend.
made a stew over the
It's
weekend.
like a zucchini, but it's not.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. It's wonderful. So how have you been? And congratulations.
I'm good. Thank you so much.
On the
Thank
marriage of your daughter.
My daughter got married. Well, we found out she's having a baby, so we pulled out the shotgun and we got married. And great guy, though. Great guy. Finally, you know, sometimes you got to kiss a bunch of frogs. Beyond frogs. I'm just fixing my hearing aids. Say Bell's palsy, so
Oh,
I
yeah?
got two hearing aids so I could hear you guys. And so yeah, she's really got a good guy, and I'm gonna be a grandpa, Papa Joe. I'm gonna be in November. So
Oh, in the
Yeah.
That's
wow,
awesome.
soon,
Yeah.
November. That's fantastic.
can't wait. My wife and I can't wait. Little boy, his name is gonna be Mason Joseph Starr. You know, so
That's cool.
that's the last
Mason is a
name,
great
Starr.
name. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
Mason.
I love
I don't know
the
many
name.
Masons. I don't know any Masons actually.
The
It was
only-
like
Mason Reese was
Mason
a little red
Reese,
headed
yeah.
kid.
Redhead, that's who I thought
That's
of right
it.
away.
Yeah.
That's the only one I could think
Yeah.
of. That's
Yeah.
it. That's all. So it's going to
Yeah.
be very original.
So I'm
Yeah,
glad I'm
no,
finally
it's-
here with you guys. You've been asking me for 2 years.
Yes.
And then we tried to nail it down in February. And then I got busy over the summer and went to TV and was still with the Drew Show and doing Soprano shows and my own shows. And then I got some other things happened during the summer and everything. But now we finally worked out a date. And I'm
That's
here
great,
It's
yeah.
good to be here in Massapequa at the beautiful Paradise Studios.
There you go.
Only up
Yeah.
from here.
There you go. So when we went to see a show.
Right.
Now I've been going to Governors forever.
Yeah.
Just exactly when did they put the Joey Kohler
It's been there for years. James and Josie and Larry honored me with. We were having a conversation at the bar one night, and they.
Joey Kohler burger.
Yeah, they were saying how much they were just saying how much they admire me and stuff, and then somehow it got onto the topic of when you went to a deli and there was in the city there was a sandwich named after somebody or whatever.
Yeah.
And then not long after that they said we're honoring you with a burger. So what do you want on it? I said I like chips on a burger, so let's put chips on it, some sweet potato fries, and it's the Joey Kohler burger, and I'm honored that happened. You
And
know?
Nancy ordered it.
I
She had to
ordered it.
order it. She had to
Because
order it.
I guess we always just got appetizers and
Right,
drinks.
right.
And then I look it up and I get my flashlight. What? A Joey Kohler burger? What, are you kidding me? How is it that I never saw this before?
Yeah.
So I said to the waitress, that's what I'm having.
It's been about 10 years now since it's been there. Yeah.
Well,
10
and if
years.
anyone who doesn't know you, to me, Joey Kohler is the Babe Ruth of Long Island stand-up comedians.
Oh wow, that's I don't know if I could live up to that. but
Oh,
thank
you are.
very
You
much.
are. You hit it out of the park every time you're on
Thank you,
stage.
thank you. I
You do.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. I mean, I'm not nationally well known in the '80s and '90s. I did 4 Caroline's Comedy Hours and 4 Evening at the Improvs, Tonight Show, Letterman, Comedy Central, and all of that. But
Yeah.
you know, I'm 62. I'll be 63 now, and your popularity wanes a little bit. The way that social media takes over what the industry has changed, to say the least. And but on Long Island, I still have a very loyal following on Long Island. I'm doing stand-up for 44 years and warming-up TV shows. This year will be 31 years.
31
Wow.
years,
Yeah,
and you
with Drew
started. What was
Barrymore.
the first warm-up show?
Well, the first one was Jon Stewart's original show, not the political show. He had just called the Jon Stewart Show. It was on Channel 9 WOR, and it was just a talk show on Channel 9 back in 1991, I think it was.
Wow.
Or 91, 92, 93, somewhere around then. And I did that for a year, a little bit more than a year with him at Old Mobile Studios on 26th Street. And then I was off from the warm-up for a little thing, and in 1996 I went on the road, and I did a lot of road in Canada and some TV spots and stuff. And then Rosie got the show in 96 and called me then. I did 6 years with Rosie, and then I did 7 years with Martha Stewart. I did 12 years with Rachel Ray. I'm in my 4th year, going into my 4th year with Drew Barrymore, and in between I did Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Regis and Meredith Vieira, and AGT with Howard Stern for 3 years. So when
How
he was
did I
there.
miss the Meredith Vieira thing?
It was the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire when she hosted it.
Oh, when she hosted, you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
on that show?
No, I wasn't on it. I warmed up the
Oh,
audience.
you did the warm up for
Yeah,
that
yeah.
show.
There's a difference. See, you know, I got a double life. You know, when I do stand up, ladies and gentlemen, Joey Colin, it's my show. I can get on the stage at the club or the casino, whatever it is, or a theater, and then I say what I want to say. But when I'm doing warm up, I'm a small piece of a big puzzle, and I do what. I represent the host and everybody else that works there and the show.
Right,
so
right.
it's not my show. It's just I'm there to. I'm the rodeo clown. I'm the butler. I'm the one who welcomes the audience in to see this show. Whether it's Drew, Rachel, Rosie, Martha, you know. So 31 years doing warm up, 44 years doing stand up, and for the 20 years I've been warming up doing the Sopranos, the live Soprano shows. I mean, now it's down to Steve Sciarippa, Mike Imperioli, and Vinny Pastore. But over the years, it was Tony Sirico, it was many of the cast. Even
Wow.
Gandolfini got involved.
Wow.
Oh, yeah,
for a
he was
couple
in-
of them. Yeah, we used to do the casinos. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we got about 12 of those shows booked in the fall and the winter and the spring. At theaters all over the country, we do like between 1,500 and 3,000 seat theaters, and they sell out right away.
And what do you do exactly for that?
I come out, I do about 15, 20 minutes of stand-up. I let the audience know what's going to happen. Then we do 8 minutes of video for each character. We do Vinny and Mike and Steve's characters on video. And then, you guys ready to see The Sopranos? Yeah. I introduce them. They come out, they sit down, and then we do a Q&A. Popular questions from the internet that the audience wants to know, like 13 questions. And then we turn the mic over to the audience, and the audience asks them questions, and we run that from the stage. We take about 25 questions from the audience all over the country. We go everywhere from L.A. to Maine, you know.
Did you
That's
ever come out
awesome.
to Long Island with that?
We sold out the Patchogue Theater, yeah, and we sold out the Patchogue Theater last November, and then we went in February. We sold out to Paramount in Huntington. Yeah, I put it all over my Facebook and my Instagram, and it's pretty much everywhere.
And
Yeah.
you, the queen of all media, and you didn't know this?
John
Yeah.
Glenn didn't tell me. I'm going to blame it
Glenn
on you,
was there.
John.
Glenn was there. But it looks like we're going to be doing Patchogue again. Probably
right.
in
Oh, all
December.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to go see that. Definitely. I have
Yeah.
to see that.
So
But
that's
you
that's
see-
what I've been doing.
You've been doing stand-up for 44 years.
44 years.
But you could differentiate. You know what your place is with what you're doing. Like when you're doing
With the warm
warm-up.
up, you mean?
When you're
Yeah.
doing warm-up, you understand. You're like you said. You're a piece of.
Yeah,
the
I come out. We load the audience, and we do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 2 shows a day, 11 and 3. So let's say we go with Drew. It's the CBS Broadcast Center, going into season 5. But we just found out we got picked up for season 5 and 6 now. So it's going to be 2
that's
years.
great.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. So and it's it's union work. It's a union job, so it's a pension and benefits and stuff. And so 11 o'clock we'll start to load the audience at 10:30. They'll come in at 10 to 11. I warm up the audience with music, get them up dancing and singing, and find out who they are and where they're from, get the energy up. At 11 o'clock, I introduce Drew. She comes out, says hello to the audience, and then we're into the show. We're into the show.
I
We
love
tape
that
it.
show. I watched that
It's
show.
not live, so we were able to
Oh,
stop
all right.
down and stuff. Yeah.
You let the audience know though when they have to applaud.
I'm like a living applause sign is what I am. Yeah, we got some signals, loud applause, like the applause and loud applause and laughter and a bunch of different things that we do. We signal them as we need them because I let the audience know they're as much a part of the show as anybody else there. Remember, we're making television. We're not watching television, So because you can't just let them sit there and just watch the show and not react.
Right,
Because
right.
they're in the room for a reason, those 200 people. So, and that could work. There's very few really good producers that know the importance of that. Over the years, I've run into some problems where, some producers want to put up an applause sign or whatever, and then they don't know when to hit the thing, and it's like
Right.
applause in an awkward situation. Meanwhile, I have a sixth sense because I'm listening to the host talk. I'm listening to the guest talk, and I'm listening to how long it takes a split second to get them applauding or laughing and stuff. But I try to keep it as natural as possible. Of course, we want them to just react. But if it gets kind of silent in there for a little while, I kick them up a little bit and wake them up because, I was working on a show one time where It was cold in the studio. They put couches in, all flat, and it wasn't up like this. And they were watching monitors because the cameras were in the way. And they came in with their coats on, their gloves on. They're on couches with pillows, and they lean back and they're just watching the monitors. But I need them to react, to be in the room with us and have fun, because that's what it is. Especially Drew, it's a big party, and we
Right,
get about a
right.
third of the audience from the rest of the world. Like it's an international audience because they all know her from her movies. She's a big movie star.
Oh, yeah.
So they come in and they go, 51st Dates or Firestarter or any of the
Yeah, right.
the 70 movies that she's done. E.T. is a big one, and Charlie's Angels, and
Yeah.
so
That's right, yeah.
those movies are popular all over the world. So we get about a third of our audience. Some of them don't even speak English. They don't
Wow.
say Drew. Yeah, but
cute.
it's been a trip. I started John Stewart. I know from the clubs. And I did it with him for a year, and then we took a break, and then I went back to Rosie, and Rosie I know from the clubs too. So
Yeah.
Rosie had a
Talk
couple
about
of,
Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie O'Donnell, yeah. So we had she used a couple of the writers to warm up the crowd, and it didn't work. And it was June 10th the show started, but June 13th is actually my brother's birthday, and I was doing Letterman. I was doing stand up on Letterman
Oh, wow.
that night. And I just did my Letterman spot. I come out the side of the Ed Sullivan Theater, and I'm with my manager, Jeff Sussman, who manages, Joe Rogan and Kevin James. He doesn't manage me anymore because I don't really need a man. I can handle it myself pretty much for what I'm doing. And he's very busy with Kevin and Joe Rogan, obviously. But so Jeff was with me, and he had a big cell phone, the kind you pull the antenna up and everything. So we come out, we're on 53rd Street, and the phone rings. And who is it but Daniel Kellison, who was the original executive producer, who was my producer on Letterman, and then left Letterman to go executive produce Rosie. And then Zoe Friedman, Bud Friedman's daughter, became my producer for my stand-up spot on Letterman.
Oh, okay.
So I did my stand-up spot. We walk out onto the street, the phone rings, and it's Rosie and Daniel Kellison calling Jeff about me, saying, and I was at William Morris at the time. I had agents and managers and all kinds of stuff going on, and it says, it was Rosie and Daniel Kellison says, could Joey come in tomorrow and warm up the crowd for us? And so Rosie, I got on the phone with Rosie. I said, Rosie, what do you want? What do you want? She goes, it's a combination of Merv Griffin and Mike Douglas. I said, is it going to be like a Sally Jesse Raphael or Ricky Lake, people throwing chairs like Geraldo and stuff? Or is it going to, because nope, it's going to be love. We're going to give stuff away. It's going to be geared towards children. It's going to be fun. I got a band and everything. I said, all right, I'll come in. So my first day warming up the show was June 14th. The show started on June 10th. I did the Letterman on the 13th. I came in on the 14th or the 15th, whatever the next shoot day was. And then I stayed with Rosie for 6 years after that.
Wow.
And we went all over the country doing the shows, and the ratings were phenomenal. She beat Oprah when Oprah was on. We did, at that point, it was doing 6s and 7s. Now, if you get a 1.2, it's phenomenal.
Really?
Because there's so many other types of entertainment now.
Yeah.
But people get their entertainment from their phones. So ratings on television is very, very low. But we were doing 7s, and Rosie did things that nobody else did. She put in a RoboCam on the ceiling. She gave people stuff away. When Oprah says, you get a car, that's just copying Rosie. Because what they did was they watched Rosie giving stuff away, and then they started giving stuff away. Everybody did. Ellen, all of them.
Yeah.
Rosie was the one that figured it out, and Rosie gave the ring things on the chair with the cold milk on the chair. We shot koosh balls. We gave, I said, we gave stuff away.
Did all the game shows.
And the charity, levels of charity. And Rosie, a lot of people don't know, 8G, where Seth Meyers is now, Rosie made a giant curtain. She said, she went in and said, do this, do this, do this. And they put a giant curtain from the back of the stage around to the front, a big black curtain, so we could do Broadway plays in that small space.
Oh, wow.
With a big black curtain behind, instead of now it would be like a green screen or whatever. But so we were able to do the Titanic or Ragtime and all these big plays in that small studio, which is 8G, which is right down from 8H where SNL is. You know,
Okay.
so Rosie did. She put a RoboCam over the ceiling of that, and she put in the screen. And you know, Rosie was the one who started all this charity work too. I mean,
Yeah, I
I'll
remember
tell you
that.
a really great story.
Make a wish with Rosie.
All Make a Wish.
Nancy
I'm the
had-
one who
Cutie
handled.
patootie, I have her doll.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I'll
I
do
got
it.
all that memorabilia. I'm the one who handled the Make a Wish kids after the show. You know, and Rosie, you know, one day she came in and she was doot the shungad, as we say. You know, she was a little disheveled. So it's like 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're in the hallway on the 8th floor of 30 Rock. And I said, "Hey, Big Shot, were you out hanging out with your Broadway friends last night?" She goes, "No, I couldn't sleep, so I went to Sloan and wrote checks." I couldn't sleep, so I went to Sloan and wrote checks.
Sloan Kettering.
Sloan Kettering.
Wow.
So she would go when she couldn't sleep into the waiting rooms where these distraught families were from their families, family member dying of cancer, and she would talk to them and say, "How can I help? 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand."
My God,
Wow.
she's
asked
still
me-
amazing, but
she would ask me what comedians have a plight, have dealing with cancer, dealing with this and that, and she would write checks. I'm not going to say names or
Yeah.
anything,
No.
but I could tell you personally that I saw the checks that went out to comedian friends that we started out with years and years ago that she wrote checks to. And you don't hear that about. You hear about his political stuff and people talking about hate and stuff. But you know, it's good to find the good in people. That's what I try to do.
I
find the
always liked
positive.
Rosie. I always liked her when because I knew she was a regular person
Yeah,
at the clubs,
yeah.
and I always liked her. She was always nice to me.
Yeah, so that it was a real great experience to be on that show. 'cause
That's
it was
great. Yeah.
It was groundbreaking in many, many ways. The ratings were great. I mean, and what a show. I mean,
Oh.
you'd have a show where here's George Clooney, Elton John, and J-Lo on one show.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right,
You're like, oh my
right.
God.
Right.
I got signed autograph pictures from Britney Spears when she was there, and Christina Aguilera when she was there. I mean, because they would see me with the band, and they know I was with the audience, and so they would befriend me. A lot of them are still really good friends of mine.
That's
know?
great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not friends with Britney Spears or that, but I had Prince. Prince was on the show. He
Oh, yeah?
walked right by me.
Oh,
I'm
I
a big
remember
Prince
that.
fan.
I remember that show.
Yeah, he walked right by me, and he was there, and he actually, when he was doing his panel, he actually looked over to me and was kind of like, and I was like, I had a moment with Prince, and I've not that it means anything to take a picture next to a celebrity or have a connection to a celebrity, but it's good to be. It's a cool life that I've had,
Yeah.
and I cherish it, and I'm thankful for it every day that I was able to witness these wild experiences. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You're
it's
right.
really
Yeah.
really cool. Rosie put it one way. She would sign for kids afterwards, because in the first year she would sign for everybody, and it just took too long to sign the autographs. So then she said, "Well, I'm just doing it for kids." So I'd line the kids up, and we'd sign the autographs and stuff. But there were like grown-ups that would, like, one kid got a little dizzy, and then Rosie tended to the kid. So there was this grown-up from Canada, and she used to come down and actually fake passing out. So she'd get Rosie's attention. When you're a celebrity, there are people that do crazy things to
Oh,
get your
yeah.
attention. I mean, even at my level, I had some stalker situations, and
Just recently,
Oh
Charlie on the show.
Oh, no.
with-
Yeah,
well,
right.
that wasn't a stalker.
Well, we'll talk
was
about
just
that in a minute. I want to
Yeah.
bring up something. With the Rosie show, she used to have someone from the audience come out and say, this is Rosie.
Well, intro the show. Yeah,
and
yeah.
intro of the
yeah.
show.
It was the opening
and,
announcement.
And that was
I
your,
produced.
that
I
was
produced
you
that.
produced
yeah.
that
I
segment.
picked those people out, and I produced them. I rehearsed them, and then I produced them.
And you told me that there were times where people found out where you lived, and they would bring like their
Oh
kids,
my God!
tap
I had
dance
this,
on your front
This
step.
woman had the young boy tap dancing on the sidewalk in front of my house to try to do the opening announcement. It got popular, and millions of people are watching the show. So, and then I had these like Playboy models show up in a Corvette. Pulled up from my wife, like, who are these people? What are you doing? So I'm like, well, they're not here for me. They're here for fame. So, but Rosie explained it one time. One day I said, Rosie, boy, these people really want to meet you. She goes, no, Joey. She goes, they don't want to meet me. They want me to meet them. In other words, here's fame. These people, when they want to get close to fame, they want to be recognized by the famous person, no matter who it is. That's why people get all crazy when there's famous people around. They look at me, look at me. I want to be recognized by the light or the sun or the fame or the celebrity or whatever it is. Look at me. I exist too on the planet. You do, but you're in a big, you're famous. But so
Right.
Rosie explained that to me, and then I looked at fame completely different. So it's good to, when people want your attention, give them your attention, even if it's for a minute or a couple seconds or whatever. Show you care to a certain extent, but
Yeah.
you can't do that all the time with everybody, because there's
many.
people that want you to eat raw deer meat that they killed on their farm in Michigan, and they bring it to your hotel at 6:00 in the morning
Listen.
to eat raw deer meat in the parking lot with you. Hello.
That really happened to you?
Seriously?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Oh,
yeah,
my
guy offered
word.
me his wife, and then he bought a 6-pound piece of raw deer meat that he killed on his property in Michigan, and said, "You and I will eat this as a rite of passage." And I said, first of all, I kicked him out of the club, him, his wife, and his friends, and I want nothing. And he stalked me a few times. He showed me up to in Michigan. He showed up to a few different places. This particular guy. And then he brought deer meat to the club. And I said, "Get out of here, I want nothing to do with you." Well, my friend and I, my friend Hector Rosano, rest his soul, he opened up for me in the Midwest. He's from Cleveland, but whenever I did the Midwest, he would open up for me at those clubs. So Hector and I leave this club. We go back to the hotel, and Hector was driving back to Cleveland from Michigan. But I was getting on a plane to go, and as we were leaving the hotel, the guy behind the desk goes, "Are you Joey Cole?" "Yeah." He says, "I got something for you." Boom! About 6 pounds of raw deer meat with a note. Says, "You and I will eat this as a rite of passion." A rite of passage. And he wanted me to. He gave me raw deer meat.
Oh
So
my
now he
God.
found out the hotel. He found out my hotel left me raw deer meat. So me and Hector wound up dumping it out the window, and we were in the parking lot looking around, going, "Is this guy still here? Is he going to blow
That's
my brains
creepy,
out?"
yeah.
That's scary.
Well, I got I had this mother-daughter team that used to make me meatballs, which was always nice, and the people know I like chocolate. So on the Rosie O'Donnell show, they would bring chunky bars, and at HG and NBC, there's still my chocolate is still hidden in that studio. yeah, from 25 years ago. So,
Oh, my God.
So I have a great life. I'm blessed to have a great life. I say
That's
my
great,
prayers,
yeah.
and at 62 to look back is amazing. When you're looking forward, all you're doing is going, "I want this and I want that and I want." But I pray a lot and I'm thankful. So I look back and I go, "Oh my God, I got more, and I've had more than I ever could have asked for."
That's great. Now, I want to bring up, I met you years ago. You were hosting an open mic show. That's when Steve Oaks now, but
Yeah.
he was the first Steve O.
Yeah.
Was a headliner.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that. So when we first met you, you were hosting a show, and we just hit it off right away.
The one in Bayshore, Mowbray Street Cafe,
Not
Comedy by the
Mulberry,
Bay?
no, it was some guy who was a literary agent, Jimmy.
Oh, no, that was L. Harry Lee.
L. Harry Lee. That's
out
right.
in Miller Place.
And-
Yeah, you know who got me that gig? Do you remember Fran Capo?
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
good friend of mine.
Yeah, I know
Still,
Fran, yeah.
Franny's
Florida.
great. You can
She's
follow
been
her.
a guest on.
Yeah. So she, my aunt who lived in Nessequa, cut the ad out of a paper and showed it to me. I just showed up there that night. It was a tennis club, and he was a literary agent.
Yeah.
L. Harry Lee. That was like one of probably my first gigs.
So, and we met you, and we love it. We
Yeah.
all hit it off, the
Yeah.
three of us. And then, Steve, you were on Rosie O'Donnell's show, which you said was a breakthrough show. You were also on the first cable, access cable comedy show.
Yeah.
Because
called Mowbray Street Cafe.
no, but the Steve O comedy
Bar.
cable.
Oh, the Steve O.
Steve O
Yeah,
comedy
yeah. That's
cable.
right. That's right.
And I wrote, if Bobby's going to put that video on, we're going to show
we did
we
that
have a
one. That
small
was
clip
before.
of that.
Oh, you do?
We
Yeah,
have a
we
small
Oh my
clip
God, that's got to be 40 years ago.
40 years ago.
Oh my God.
And when Steve got the gig, then he said I could write some stuff, and I said
Yeah.
I want to write this guy
Yeah.
Joey. I want to write Joey, and so you and I are stagehands in this.
Right,
So we
I remember that.
I have like
yeah.
a quick, less than 2 minute clip.
Right. Oh, okay,
So
cool.
we're going to show it right now. The first cable access comedy show on
Yeah.
Long Island.
Yeah.
And you were a big part of
Before
it.
Wow.
screaming.
Oh.
Well, thank you. Cut that out. Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Steve O, and this is Steve O's Comedy Cable, and this is a first. Actually, this is the first local Long Island talk show, and we are very, very proud to be presenting it to you. Let me tell you a little bit about the show right up front here. It's a ripoff. We thought it was okay for Letterman to rip off Carson. It's okay for Alan Thicke to rip off Letterman. Who'd get upset if we ripped off Joe Franklin? So no, I kid. Big fan of Joe Franklin's. I hope one day to have him on the show. A little about the show. It's a comedy show. The focus will be on comedy, but we will have variety for you. Now we're going to our first commercial break.
This is it?
This is it. This is history. First commercial break. I'm very excited about this. Something I've always wanted to say. We will be.
We'll be right back.
What's my line? That is my line. What are they? Oh, now this is ridiculous. That is my line, and these guys come out here before my very first commercial break. What the hell? What does this guy mean? We will be right back. What does he mean?
It was your line. You were the
What
one.
does he mean?
Like I said, we'll be right back.
And a lot of other fun as we continue our show. And
Steve, we were just cooking lunch backstage. We wonder if you'd be able to settle an argument by tasting some of this, please.
It's good, Steve. It's very good.
looks good.
I told you we should have taken the tinfoil off first.
We'll be right back.
That was 40-something years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
the stand-up
God.
show that I had for Group W Cable was the Mowbray Street Cafe, but that
Right.
came afterwards. That was, Steve was already going into sketch stuff. I don't know how many episodes he did of that.
That was the pilot, and I don't think that ever saw.
Oh, really?
I don't
Did
think
you
it went
see the
anywhere.
light of day? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame
Because
'cause
I
funny.
became friends with Tony Luizzi, who you know. He does DVD is his company. He's a video guy, and he worked in Bayshore at Group W Cable for Lou Schofberg.
Oh,
So
really?
it was in the Gimbels parking lot in Bayshore. So when Group W Cable started, it had, it started 10,000, 20,000. Eventually went into 120,000 people around the town of Islip area that had cable. But they had all these cable channels, but no programming at all. So one of the channels was in that studio, in that storefront, whereas two guys were in folding chairs that were fishermen from the Great South Bay, and they were talking about what they got that day. So the guy would just sit there, and he I got a bushel of clams, and I got a bushel of blue claw crabs, and picking up on the fluke today. Yeah, I heard a guy caught a couple of snappers, and it was the most boring thing. So my friend Tony said, "Listen, you want to do a comedy show?" I said, "Yeah, but we can't do it in this little studio." So Rick Morgan booked Mowbray Street Cafe. It's now a park now. It's gone.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But
Right.
I hosted it. I did the warm up, and young Adam Sandler came in at 15
Oh,
years
wow.
old. Yeah,
Really?
I still got the rundown of that,
Oh,
and I
cool.
still got some of the episodes down in my basement somewhere. And yeah, he came in one day because his grandmother lived in Bayshore, so he floated in. He was like 15 years old.
Wow.
And he said, "Hey man, you mind if I do a couple of minutes?" I said, "Do you have an act?" He goes, "Not really, So I said, "Well, go write 5 minutes, and then I'll put you on. It's a local cable thing." So he came back the next week, and I actually put him on. But Richard Jenny did it, and Martling, and Zabrowski, and Peter Bales, and I think Melvin was on it. Steve was on it. So I
Bunch
hosted
of
it.
fun.
We did 14 episodes of that.
The
Wow.
talent back then. I mean, there was real talent back then in the 80s.
Yeah. Well, we came up. We had to be good, because for a couple different reasons. New York, Long Island, we sent more comedians to the Tonight Show than any other geographic area in the world, pretty much. At that
Yep.
point, it was because we were far enough away from New York where we could. It's a safe zone, but close enough to New York where you still had to be, Brooklyn, Bronx, sarcastic and tough.
Right.
I mean, you still got to be tough. There's people in the audience here that are, chances are, funnier than you are, in their own daily life. So when we go on the road, when I go on the road, they like the New York-isms, and they like that we're fast and coming up with jokes for. I'm a hitter, like. Me, Richie Minervini, Dom Herrera, Bobby Collins, Rich Jenny, hitters that you sell your energy. You sell your energy. And people, especially in the tri-state area, they want jokes per minute. They want it now, quick. I'm paying. Make me laugh now.
Right.
They don't want that.
Wait.
They don't want to wait. I mean, even if you're a Stephen Wright and you have a slow pace, every line still has to be a killer line. So that's what I pride myself on. And I just worked with Patty Rossborough recently. I just saw Joey Vega, 2 more old school people that we know from back in the day.
Right.
And I suggested on Facebook, I don't know if you saw,
I did.
that I wanted to put together an old school comedy tour.
Yes.
And a lot of the comedians came out of the woodwork and said, I'd love to do that. Because, let's face it, our age, 50s, 60s, 70s, we got the money. A lot of the younger generation doesn't have the money because the houses are so expensive. They got to work 3 jobs. They're all doing this stuff here, and a lot of them don't want to work. Like I have friends that have pizzerias and stuff, and that want to hire people, but they're like, I don't want to work. I want to live in my parents' basement. I want to do something else or whatever. So I mean, that's not everybody, but we have the money, and our generation is the last really good ones that were used to going out. Like I got a new bit in my act about how I talk about our generation. How our generation is taking care of our parents with dementia, our kids, and now our grandkids. Mm-hmm. So we have no time for cancer because you got 3 generations you got to take care of at this point. I mean, we worked hard to get the money. We have the houses and whatever we have this generation. We also got the money and we got the love of live entertainment. Mm-hmm. Not that venues aren't selling out now with music and comedy and stuff, but there's also a place where instead of writing off comedians that are in their 50s and 60s, instead of writing them off going, old people, that's it. No, there's a lot of people still hitting it like this right now.
Big time.
I mean, my calendar's booked, and I'm doing some killer shows with Patty Rossborough and a bunch of other people. So if I could put together 4 or 5 really hard-hitting comics and start doing theaters around the country, that's what I'm on my way to do.
I think you should do that. I really like that idea.
It's going to take me a little while because I'm going to be a grandpa soon, and I got other things. I got other things going on right now that I have to take care of. But that's definitely on the burner to start to do that. And I already got a bunch of theaters that already called me and said I want to do that.
That's great. Yeah. No, that would be. We would definitely go.
Julia Scotti would love that.
Yeah, Julia Scotti is one.
Fantastic.
Another person that I know for how many years? I mean, 40 years. So
yeah, she's great.
Yeah,
she's great. I love you, Julia. I know she's watching tonight.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you all for watching.
Are we over time?
We have 11 minutes and 37
I wanted to ask you about when you were on the Kevin James show.
Right, Kevin Can Wait?
Yep.
Yeah. That was a sitcom that he shot right out here in Bethpage. And Kevin tapped me to warm up the audience, which is a different... I was doing that while I was doing all the other shows, because that was a Friday night. And I was off Fridays from the daytime shows. A sitcom is different. It takes anywhere from 4 to 6 hours to tape a sitcom.
Wow. And
I have a DJ with me. My buddy Sean Fink was on the show with me, and he was my DJ. And we brought the audience in, and that's a whole different head than daytime. And daytime and sitcoms is different than a nighttime show, a nighttime talk show. It's all different. There's different styles, and but that was Kevin tapped me to do that, and then he actually asked me to be a character on the show. I played Larry Anderson. You want to hear a real cool story?
Yes.
Yeah. He tapped me to play Larry Anderson. His wife, who was played by Erin Hayes, the boss at the school because she was a teacher, and I was the principal. Larry Anderson was my name. Do you know Larry Anderson was the name of my kid's principal at their elementary school?
Wow.
Oh,
I said to Rock
God.
Rubin, who was the writer, I said, Rock, did you get this from my kid's school? Because their principal's name is Larry Anderson.
That's unbelievable.
So I said, no. He said, no. They get the names from the common names that are, public domain, that they're able to use. And Larry Anderson is one of those names. So I actually played a character named, not after my kid's principal, but same as. So I did that, and I did the donut thing. I ate 13 donuts. I ate corn on the
Yeah,
show
the
one
corn,
time.
yeah,
One bit was great.
Yeah,
That was it.
You know, that show was only around for 2 seasons.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Your character was one of the most memorable characters.
Thank
on
you,
it.
Yeah.
thank you. It only had a
You-
few lines in that scene.
Yeah, but the way you
corn.
were eating the corn.
But I learned from Joanna Bexon, was my acting coach, and I learned Meisner for 3 years from her. And Ray Romano studied with her, and Rob Bartlett, and a lot of Broadway stars. A lot of prominent people study with Joanna Bexon, and she coaches big actors, you know, Steve Sharippa and a bunch of other people, and people from sitcoms and television, and a lot of people on Law and Order. I think she was on a Law and Order. And she taught me that when you're acting, everything is a gift, you know, through the Meisner technique. So I saw the corn as a gift. And then when I bit in, I used 4 ears of corn in that scene. We only did like 3 or 4 takes, but I knew that it was so well mic'd that when I bit in, you heard the crunch of
Yes.
the corn. So I was able to use that gift of the crunch of the corn within the craziness that they wanted me to be a little bit nutty, you know, a little bit psycho.
It was-
too.
it was-
Great character. It's great.
Thanks.
Now,
It's fabulous.
you're very busy, as you said. You have with something else that you did this year. I think for the first time, you had a symposium. You had a seminar.
Yeah, I did.
Of teaching
Yeah,
comedy. Now,
yeah.
will we be seeing more of
Well,
that?
I'm going to be doing it online, do it through Zoom.
All
I'm going to
right.
be doing it through Zoom so I can get the whole country. Because when I said I was doing it, I got feedback from all over the country. And on the Facebook, you get 5,000. Instagram, you get 5,000 or whatever. But through my other outlets on social media,
Right.
I had a lot of interest of when are you coming to Alaska? When are you coming to Colorado? I wish I could take that class in Pennsylvania. Well, you know, I'm going to be doing it on Zoom, and I'm going to open up a site where I will, you know, I'll charge for it, but I'll get on Zoom. And I'll tell people all my secrets to making a living out of this for 44 years. Like, I've done nothing else but stand-up comedy for 44 years.
We have a couple of pictures, a couple of still pictures from
Oh,
that,
okay.
that we're gonna show because I went to one.
That's a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
idea,
you did.
doing
Thank
the
you.
Zoom
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, yeah. It was great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There
Yeah.
you go. So that was. I got to bring old school. I made. Rosie taught me how to make collages.
Oh,
so I
yeah,
made
yeah,
a collage of all the ads and stuff from my career. So I was explaining it.
Look at that picture in the
Yeah.
center. Look at-
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
that's-
There's a lot of ads from.
That was an
hilarities
early
in
headshot.
Cleveland, and
Yeah.
all the old headshots and all the ads, and that pink thing up in the middle is a contract that I did. Fordham University with Dennis Miller years ago. So what I'm trying to do with these collages is explain to young comics that your career is not, it's not one thing. You know, I need a break to make it. There's no break. There is no one break. There's many different things you do, and you call that whole thing a career. You know, here's the career. There's no one break. There's no, when I get to here, it's going to be great. No, here's your career. You look back, and this is your career. You
Right.
know, so
Oh, awesome.
yeah, so that's all the things I've
Only
done. in
Joey
those
could
collages.
use a Gagootz
A
as an
Gagootz to do that.
analogy.
Yeah.
That's great. No.
And you know, a good joke writer. A lot of good jokes come from trauma. You know, and I've had a traumatic life. I almost died when I was 9 from Rocky Mountain spotted fever, so I have a vendetta against ticks. And my friend Eric Powers and I released Bob White quails to eat ticks around Long Island. We released anywhere from 800 to 3,000 every July at different parks and stuff around Long Island because they eat their body weight in ticks a day. So I
Wow.
almost died of Rocky Mountain spotted fever. I was born my legs backwards.
Oh,
I had
wow.
pneumonia, and then I was in a bunch of car crashes, and then my mother passed away in 1986, as you know,
Yes.
as a bad car crash coming back from seeing me in Atlantic City. She died on the side of the Southern State Parkway, and that was very traumatic. And then
Yeah, that was-
our mutual friend took me under his wing to go to L.A. because I gave up my Star Search audition, and he helped me get back on my feet, and then I became a headliner.
A lot
after
of
that.
comedians helped you.
A
because
lot of
it-
comedians helped
I
me. at that
remember. I'm going to
point.
bring this
Yeah.
up. I know it was.
Yeah.
You were considering giving up comedy at that time.
I was considering giving up life. dude.
Giving up
Yeah.
life. Yeah,
Because
because
when you get that trauma, people say, "What can I do to help you?" So you know what I was saying? I was saying, "Can you? I can't sleep. Can you bring me some NyQuil?" So I had 10 bottles of NyQuil under my bed.
Wow.
So my mother died. I mean, my mother was like this.
Yeah, and
This big. You met my mother.
oh, your mother was a beautiful
Yeah,
person.
little
Well,
Italian angel, and
every time I saw
I was
you,
drinking a NyQuil.
your parents were always at
Very supportive.
every show. You were doing
Yeah.
you were doing the improv group, the Comedy Express.
yeah.
Your parents were at every show.
Yeah.
When we did that little clip that we showed, your parents were in the audience.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Steve's parents were in the audience.
That's right.
That
Yeah,
time.
Esther and Lloyd.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Esther, Lloyd,
And-
and your mom and dad were a big part of your act at that
yeah,
time.
of course.
Of your stand-up. So I remember because Steve called me up and told me what happened, so I went to
Yeah.
the wake, and when I went back to Steve's house,
Yeah.
and Steve told me that all the comics had surrounded you and wanted, because you wanted to give up.
My parents' house was loaded with comedians: John Bizarre, Freiberger, John Weiss. Everybody at that point was at my house, as well as my high school friends, my neighborhood friends, my brother's friends. All my relatives were there because my father was still in the hospital, Brunswick Hospital at the time. It's gone now, but
Right.
on Route 110. So he had an epileptic seizure. He hit a tree. She hit her head. She went into a coma. It was my birthday, 1986, and October 19th. She died the next day, the 20th or 20th, I think, or the 21st. But we couldn't tell him. So my brother and I and all our
remember
family
that,
had to bury my mom without telling my dad. And then we had to tell him a couple weeks later because his heart wouldn't have taken it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, then there was another car crash a year after that, and he wound up the nurse who was at Southside Hospital who tended to him became my stepmom. Yeah, he wound up marrying her. So yeah, it was a very traumatic thing, and I
remember.
I was emceeing at that point because what happened was I was at the Comedy Stop at the Drop Friday. They were in the audience, and then they left Saturday morning. We had breakfast, had some ice cream on the boardwalk, and they left. And I had a weird feeling, Went back to the room, changed, went to do the show, and I was emceeing. I brought up a ventriloquist guy, a guy with a duck. I forget his name, but I brought him up, and I was only emceeing. And then while he's on stage, Kephardt's telling me, your parents were in a bad car accident, one of them might be dead. At the same time, I hear the middle act say, that's my time, welcome back, Joey Cola. So now my automatic
Oh my
pilot,
God.
Holy crap.
my automatic pilot was to go on stage, and I just did 3 or 5 minutes, and I'm looking at the seats my parents were in the night before, and I'm doing actually the bit I did was my mother waking me up in the morning to find out what time I had to get up. What time you got to get up now? And now, it was one of my signature bits back then. And then I said, I brought up Adam Leslie was the headliner, and he said, don't worry, you go, I'll close out the show. And I jumped in the car and went. My brother had told my mother-in-law to tell Kephardt, tell him not to go to the hospital, come right home to Bayshore. But I didn't. I went to the hospital in Amityville, and I saw her there, and it was very, very bad.
Yeah.
She was in the tubes and everything, and then she died the next day. And then, my whole, how do you become funny? How are you funny? You're 24, 25 years old. And my dream was to be, at that point, I was going to East Side Comedy Club, seeing Eddie Murphy on stage as a kid, seeing Nelson, Bartlett, all these Richie Minervini.
Yeah.
But I gave up my Star Search audition. Steve took it and got Star Search. And then I hadn't been on stage in about a month.
That's how Steve got on there.
Yeah, so he got Star Search, and then he said to me, "You're coming with me. I'm paying for your flight. You're going to stay with me in L.A. and you're gonna coach me on Star Search." So I had no worth at all. At that point,
That was great. And
finished
then
up college.
I remember he told me that you saw Barbara Streisand and you went up to her.
Yeah.
And talked to her because your mom loved Barbara Streisand.
My mother loved Barbara Streisand. Just love Barbara Streisand. Even Jake the plumber, he's the man I adore. So as much as Rosie O'Donnell loved Barbara Streisand, so and her mother loved her also. So we go to L.A. and I coach Steve. He beats Jackie Martling. He beat Martin Lawrence on the show, and then he lost. He made it to the semifinals and then lost. And we stayed with John Mulrooney, who had his own show on Fox Comedy Tonight, I think it was.
So, yeah.
And Richard Jennings' star was really on the rise, so they were sharing an apartment off Sunset Boulevard. So we stayed with them for a little while.
Jenny had the platypus man.
Yeah, he was it. He was a big star. So we went out to have breakfast, and Barbara Streisand was there, and it was just Barbara Streisand, another lady, and us. That was it in the whole place. So Steve goes, man, your mother really loved Barbara Streisand, so you should say something. So I went up to her and I said, listen, my mom just passed away. I just want to let you know she was a very big fan of yours. And she was very nice. She goes, oh, I'm sorry about your mom, but I'm glad she got a lot of joy out of my music. And that was one of a bunch of different things that happened. So
That's great.
I still carry the strength and the light in here, you know.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Thank God for that.
Yes.
Literally.
And listen, I want to
He's
thank
the
you
only
so
one.
much.
Are we done already?
Yeah, we're done,
We're-
baby.
Oh my God!
We
Okay.
have, and we have to say goodbye because we take a long time to say.
say a lot,
You know,
yeah,
how,
we get
you know
yelled
how
at.
Italians take like an hour to say
Yeah,
goodbye,
yeah,
goodbye,
yeah,
goodbye.
that's how we
and then
are.
you get all the way to the end, and then someone says, "Did you say goodbye to Aunt Maddie?"
Right.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Or they go like this. They go, wait a minute, you didn't take the food, and they
Yeah,
start
yeah,
packing
yeah.
up food, and they go, take this, take that.
Yeah, yeah. Taking
That's
the
how it is every
Gagootz.
time we
Yeah.
leave.
You want to? You cooking this Gagootz?
No,
You want it, you want it.
All right.
Thank you so
Thank-
much for coming on the
I
show.
Joey
love
Cola,
you.
thank
I
you
love
so
you,
much.
baby.
I love you.
Thanks,
I love
buddy. I
you
love
guys.
you.
I love you
Thank you.
guys. Thank you for
Oh.
having me.
And we'll see
I
you
appreciate
guys
Don't be a
in 2
stranger.
weeks.
And
Bye, everybody.
Best of luck. Goodbye. Best of luck to
Thank you.
being the grandpa.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank you.
keep you posted.
And send our love
Yeah,
to
in
Leonora
the words
too.
of Richie Minervini, I'm going to learn how to change diapers, which means I'm not going to bite my fingernails anymore.
All right. Thank you all for watching. This has been the
Good night,
Gagootz Show
guys.
with Joey Kohler and my
one.
fabulous wife, Nancy.
There you go.
Rizzuti.
Rizzuti.
Nancy Rizzuti.
Okay, guys. Bye.